Hey family, I am Almedia Lee Exum and welcome to my podcast. I want to say to each and every one of you, Happy Life Day. Happy L-I-F-E Day. Happy Life Day. Every day that we are living is a day to be happy, to be celebrated. So happy Life Day, you all. Thanks again for tuning in and thanks for supporting this channel. The motivational message of today is thank your past. Again, the motivational message of today is thank your past. Say thank you to your past. And what do I mean by that? Well, I heard this quote and it says, scars have the strange power to remind us that our past is real. The quote says, scars have strange power. Scars have strange power to remind us that our past is real. People look at their past as like a plague, as a scar, as a scab. But everything that we have experienced has made us into the people that we are today. So a scar isn't necessarily a bad thing. A scar reminds us of things we have endured. You know, some people have endured loss, hurt, disappointment from the past. Some of us have physical wounds from a time we've been in an accident or we fell down or we've been injured, you know, and these things become a part of who we are, become a part of our story, to where we pass these stories down to our family members and friends and children. I remember as a kid, I used to race in the street. This is way before, like, you know, watching TV was a big thing. We used to always have to just go out to have fun, right? You couldn't be in the house all day. Grown-ups would say, go on outside and play. And you would find sticks and other neighbors' kids, and you go knock on the door and be like, hey, can so-and-so come out and play? And you find activities, right? And I remember all of the kids on the block, we decided to race in the street. And I don't know why I wasn't a whole bunch of cars going down that street, but we just decided to race, right? And I remember we were running and I fell. I fell so hard, I skinned both of my knees to the white part, and I had these scars that I still have on my my chest to this day. They're really tiny. They look like little lightning bolts. I don't have any tattoos, but they look kind of like little scars. And you know, I remember when I was that little kid running, and I was so afraid when I got like all these bloody bruises and stuff. I remember going into the house limp and said, oh, I fell. Actually, a whole bunch of kids ran up to me to see if I was okay. But do you know, I tell this story. I tell this story to kids in my family. I tell this story to adults. I talk about that time where I was running. I thought I was doing my thing and I fell. And I have these remnants on my skin, just little tiny, you know, little tiny scars. But on my legs healed. But at that time, I never thought my legs would heal. That moment in my life was a moment from the past. But I thank myself for that. I thank the past. You know, I had to be more careful as a kid when I ran. I had to pay attention. I had to pick up my feet instead of walking like a duck, you know, like, and that moment seemed so terrible at that time, but it taught me about falling down. And you know what? As painful as it was to fall down, I got up. And that moment from the past taught me that when life gets hard and you fall down, even if it's painful and you get scars, you get back up. And those scars become memories that you can laugh about and tell family, talk about at the dinner table, or, you know, talk about over tea or coffee with your friends, and laugh over times that seem so big of a deal in the past. But you can laugh at now, you know, and enjoy remembering that moment. And so that's just one example from my life. And there's been other times, you know, I'll tell you another time where, since we're talking about this whole quote about scars have the strange power to remind of us our past, how scars have the strange power to remind us of our past. Okay, that's the quote. But I have another experience in which I fell. So you all, this happened around I think about 4 years ago, right? It was like a couple of weeks after I started a rehearsal for a production, right? It was a stage show. And I was catching the bus, the public buses. And I was waiting for one. I got off one bus. I went to Subway to get something to eat. This is all going to make sense. Just follow me, okay? So I went to Subway because I was waiting on this bus and it took forever for my second bus to come. And I was catching the bus home, right? And so I went to Subway across the street. And I remember not paying attention when I was going across the street. I was either looking at my phone or I was looking at a newspaper, and nothing happened when I went across the street. But I just remember like some cars honking because I had my head in the phone, right? I got to the subway. I was like, okay, can you all hurry up and make my sandwich? I'm inconveniencing the subway people. I'm like, because I'm waiting on my bus and I want to make sure I don't miss it. And so this is right. I think this was like in between like rehearsals for a show, right? I was heading home. I realized I could see, because the subway had, all glass windows, right? I could see that the bus was down the street. And so I was like, just hurry up with the sandwich. I gotta go, right? And so I grabbed the sandwich, paid for it, of course, grabbed the sandwich, darted across the street, and I had a cup in my hand and the sandwich in my other hand and some other stuff, like, I think it was like the script or something. I just had stuff in my hand, and I'm running across the street. And this is me as an adult. I told you about the story when I was a kid. This is me as an adult. I'm running across the street, and I fell in the middle of the street with ongoing traffic, and I blacked out. And some old man came over. He was like, come on, we got to get you out of the street. And the drink I had from Subway was completely gone. It was, it fell, I fell, everything fell. And I was like, oh, okay. And I started to realize, like, okay, I'm in the street, I got to get up. And I was embarrassed because, people had saw that I had fell, and, so I was trying to catch the bus. I forgot to tell you this. The bus had made it to my stop. And so I was like, wait for me, with the juice in my hand, the drink in my hand, and the Subway sandwich. I'm like, wait for me, I'm coming, hold the bus. This is literally me running across the street, and I fell. Blacked out. Older gentleman came over and was like, hey, we need to get you out of the street. Cars are stopping as they see I'm in the middle of the street. And I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, yeah, okay. And the people on the bus saw that I fell. They saw that I fell. So I guess they told the bus driver, oh my gosh, look, somebody fell across the street. And somehow I still made the bus. I limped across the street, right? The story gets more interesting. I limped across the street with the papers I had in my hand. The sandwich was still okay. The drink was completely, slammed into the ground. I don't know where it went, but I didn't have time to think about that. I just was a little mortified. I wasn't as mortified as I would have been once I arrived on the bus. This is what happened. Apparently, the bus driver saw that I had fell. My leg was hurting, and I love wearing leggings, you all. This story is going to make sense, but the motivational message is, thank your past. And so this is all going to make sense. So with this story, I got on the bus driver and everyone saw me fall. I got on the bus and they were like, are you okay? Are you okay? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm fine. Like something out of a movie. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm fine. And so then I see that people are looking down at my leg. I have on leggings, which is what I always wear. You all, do you realize, or did I have on leggings? Or did I have on jeans? I'm pretty sure I had on leggings. Do you know my knee was completely bloody? It was completely bloody. And I didn't realize that when I first got up. And it was the skin on my knee part, the legging part was completely ripped off, and they could just see my knee. And I'm like, oh, wow. Oh. And I look down because I see people on the bus looking at me. I'm like, oh. And then I just limp to a seat on the bus. And I was mortified. I was mortified. It was an accident. I was trying to catch the bus. I injured myself. This is the moral of the story. I was in a production that was lasting for weeks, right? For I think 2 months it was going on. The role I was playing, I had a dress on for the whole production. I had to come to set with a big Band-Aid on my knee, right? And they were like, what happened to your knee? I'm like, I fell. I fell in the street. I didn't realize it. I'm embarrassed. Hopefully. And I kept saying, hopefully it heals by the time the show starts. The skin was off of my knee. I didn't need to go to the emergency room. I just went to get Band-Aids from a grocery store, big, thick Band-Aids, right? And I'm an artist, so I'm not spending a lot of money. At the time, I don't even think I had health insurance, And so I'm just like, I'm just going to put some Band-Aids on it. I'll be fine. I made it to the production. The production opened, and I still had to use the Band-Aid. But you know what? I had good feedback from the audience and from the cast and crew, because they said, you know what, this kind of goes along with their character, because I was playing a teenage girl I was playing a teenage girl who, you know, wore dresses and stuff, and it just kind of fit into the character, like a young girl just, you know, playing around all the time. She has a band-aid on her knee. And I'm like, okay, well, thank you. Failure, like me falling in the street and embarrassing myself, because it made my character more interesting, because they're like, why does she have a band-aid on her knee? I had to go through the production for a good week or two with a band-aid on my knee. And it helped the character. It made the character seem more interesting, you know? And I was like, wow, I felt so terrible, because I was like, darn it, I'm failing because I'm showing up to this production and I have to have a band-aid on my knee, and you're supposed to be an artist, you're supposed to take care of yourself. You can't be sick or injured, you know? But that band-aid on my knee helped for the character that I was playing, the girl that I was playing, you know? And I say all this to say that sometimes we look back at things and we're like, oh wow, that was really terrible, and this is haunting me, these failures and these past experiences. But sometimes if you look back at your past, you can thank it for what it has taught you. I thank that experience because it made that role that I was doing more interesting. And it taught me once again, because when I was a kid, I just was trying to be fast, but I had to pick up my feet. As an adult, I was impatient and I was rushing. And it caused me to fall in the middle of the street. And I had to realize no amount of bus, no bus is worth my life. I take my time, you know? At that time I was catching the bus. You take your time. I can catch the next bus. It's not an emergency. I could miss that bus. I don't have to rush things in life. That past experience taught me to take my time. It's okay if you miss a bus. It's okay if you miss an audition. It's okay if you miss an opportunity, if you miss an audition, if you miss, you know, that interview. It's okay. You know, you shouldn't be trying to intentionally miss stuff, but it's all right. Why? Because you can try again. It's just the experience of knowing to take your time. Take your time. So I thank those experiences, even though they were embarrassing at the time and they left scars. And this time when my knee healed, it was a little different. It's still healed, like you wouldn't know, but it's darker, you know, and I can kind of see the remnants of that last, you know, fall because I was an adult when that happened, you know. But I thank those experiences because of what they taught me. And I realized, I was like, I don't care if, you know, at that time when I was catching the bus, and this goes for anything, even if I'm catching a Lyft, Uber, or I'm driving around a car, take your time. Take your time in traffic. Take your time in other parts of your life. It's not worth falling down and getting injured. But your scars, your past, can teach you and prepare you for your future. Was that a long story? Do you understand what I'm saying? Y'all understand me? I wanted to share that with you all. I heard this other quote that says that life can only be understood backwards. It must be lived forward. Basically, I'll say the quote again. So it says, life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forward. So that's saying that we understand things as we experience them. So thank your past, okay? Things that happen to us in our life, whether they're painful, confusing, or whatever feelings they have evoked within us, we look back and we see what we've learned from them, and we can move forward in our life and grow. Thank your past. Listen to me today. Thank your past. I heard this quote and it says, we are products of our past, which we are. But we do not have to be imprisoned. We don't have to be imprisoned. I heard this quote that says, we are products of our past, but we do not have to be prisoners of it. You hear me? We are products of our past, which we are, but we don't have to be prisoners of it. What's in your past that's haunting you? That's holding you back? That's making you second guess your future? You may have been a product of that, but you don't have to be a prisoner of it. You can let it go. Learn from the past. Thank the past for everything it taught you. And know that you can move forward. Know that you can be better. You can decide. Thank you, past. Thank you, past hurt, past failures, past decisions, past confusions, past whatever. Thank you for what you taught me. Now I can be better, do better, feel better, be grateful, more grateful. Today, I encourage all of you to thank your past. Don't fear it. Don't let it haunt you. Thank it. Just look at it like an old friend, that taught you something, because that's what it really is. Maybe not a good friend, but good because you learned from it, and you still have the opportunity to learn from it. So when the past seems like it's haunting you, just be like, you know what? Thank you, past. Thank you. Say it out loud. Maybe not around too many people. Say it out loud. Thank you, past. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for what you taught me. Thank you for what I learned. Thank you for what I experienced. Because now I can be better, do better. Yes. That is the motivational message of the day. Thank your past. I hope this message inspired you. I hope it encouraged you. I'm going to start calling this fruit from the tree of life. I'm giving y'all seeds, fruit seeds from the tree of life, you all. I hope this inspired you. I hope this motivational message of the day inspired you and encouraged you. I hope that you practice this. Practice instead of regretting and resenting your past. I hope that you practice thanking it for what it taught you. Thank you so much for your support. Remember to click that like button and subscribe button and share this message, share this message, because you never know who wants to hear this, who needs to hear this, who's battling with their past. And I want them to know, that they can overcome their past and practice thanking their past. And they'll thank us for it. Also, you all, remember that you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, SoundCloud at almedialyxm. I want you all to know that you are loved, you are valuable, you matter. Remember that life is a gift, and every day that we are living is a day to be celebrated. So remember to have a happy life day. Take care.